Hi folks, welcome to the EGXW Info Group of Twitter accounts YouTube channel. Today's topic, weather apps for iOS. So we're quite lucky that most civil and military airports have some of the best weather equipment, and they send out data every hour in most cases. So if you can link into that, you're going to get the best weather reports, and these apps will give you an insight into that. Now, before I go on, this is the new microphone. I hope it sounds all right. So if you remember, I asked for donations to help fix my audio woes. So I hope it sounds quite clean and crisp. Unfortunately, we haven't had any donations, but that's fair enough, difficult times, Christmas and all that. But if you can help me recoup the costs, I've had to go out and buy it and hopefully speculate to accumulate, so to speak. So if you can help me with my audio, I just bring a quid over to the old PayPal, and then visit my website, link in the description below. So my iOS apps of choice. Now the first one here, AeroWeather. There's a light version and a pro version that I've got on some different subscription options, so we'll touch on those. But this is my favourite weather app. So this is AeroWeather Lite by Lakehorn AG, and this is free. And as you can see there, it links into, so we've got Warrington, Coningsby, Scampton set up there, and it's pulling the METAR data, including the military colour code there. You can see Scampton's colour code blue. So just click on Warrington for argument's sake. And what it'll do is it'll decode your METARs and TAFs. METARs and meteorological actual reports, TAFs terminal area forecasts. The METARs what's happening right now, and TAF is forecast by the people at the airfield about what's going on. So you can see the data there, and it comes in like a raw data format, which unless you're a pilot, you're probably not going to be too good at decoding off the top of your head. But this app quickly decodes that, puts it in a format that's sort of easy to understand. So it tells you about the conditions at the airfield and what's expected coming up and the times for those. Got some snow showers coming up there. So I just like the layout, really. It gives you a very quick one-shot view of the METAR information, and things like runway in use will probably be on the more premium version of the app. As you can see at the bottom here, this is ad supported, but you can add your airfields and structure them. You can slide that up there, for example, and lay it out how you want. You've got the old dark and light mode. You've got various options to set the units of measure into the ones we use in this country. I think you can even set your margins between like VMC and IMC conditions. Sometimes they're slightly different in different countries. But yeah, great little app here. However, I of course use the premium version. So again, this is AeroWeather Pro by Lakehorn AG, and this is $3.99. And I like the extra features that you get along with this. So like if I pop into my EGXW, this is what I normally have on my phone that opens at a glance. And if I go into Warrington, there's probably a bit more information. Yeah, here we go. We've got a sort of pictogram, I don't know. Pictorial. We'll go with pictorial. Pictorial view of RAF Warrington here that shows the runway in use, the headwind component and the crosswind component. So that's very handy to just, if you're rocking up at an airfield, just have a quick look at the runway in use. You'll probably find that quite useful. And then it also pulls in other details such as like NOTAMs. In fact, I'm just going to pop back to the light version and see if there's a NOTAM tab. No, there's no NOTAM tab in the light version. So again, that's That's one of the differences. So it's great to link into to pull the NOTAM data. I'm trying to get an airfield with a few more NOTAMs to show you, but like for opening hours, for argument's sake, we're on Coningsby there. Yeah, very useful indeed. So yeah, that's AeroWeather and AeroWeather Pro by Lakecorn AG. Now this next one, World Weather here, this isn't actually an aviation app, but you know, I'm a bit strange and I like my graphs, and they've got this meteogram here, and you know, when I look at a graph I get so much information because I'm a bit strange and I'm kind of neurologically programmed that way. So I appreciate some of you won't enjoy this feature, but if there's anyone strange out there like me that loves a good graph and can just see so much information from a graph and trends, I think this is absolutely cracking. You know, it's got temperature on the left hand side there. It's got wind speed. It's got pressure on there. It's got wind direction. It's got you know, it trends for your clouds and things like that. You've got your moon phases, which isn't particularly pertinent to aviation, but then also some interesting cloud trend information if you scroll further down. But I just love that this meteogram. It gives me a really good idea of the trends, and really helps me out sort of forward planning. Maybe a few days in advance is what I use this for. A lot of, and the clouds at the top, I forgot that feature actually. So you can see cloud trends just in one very quick snapshot. It's just a really great layout, and I thought it was a worthy mention for this section. So that's world weather. In fact, let me bring up the information again. That's weather forecast with meteogram by Alice Belusek. I've probably murdered his name, bless him. But that's that app. Very useful indeed, and one I really like. Now back onto the old aviation weather. We've got this station weather and station weather Lite. I think they've had a bit of a restructuring with how they've gone from a paid app model to a subscription model. I'll explain more in a minute. But again, this is very, very similar to the first app. So Station Weather Lite by Oliver Woods. There we go. Should have practiced these names before we started recording, really, shouldn't I? But again, it's very similar to AeroWeather and AeroWeather Pro, but it just represents that data it's slightly different pictorially, should we say, in a design aesthetic. So yeah, you've got your meta data here, and you can see there where the wind's coming from. I'm not sure if that's a crosswind component or not. Then we've got cloud data, and I think this is quite a good representation of cloud data to lay it out like that, representing the difference between scattered and few, and then the heights, which I quite like there. Then you can scroll across, and then it pulls in the TAF data, and you've got this timeline at the top where you can, I think you can scroll. Here we go. Yeah, you can change the time. So you can take it to the time where you're going to be rocking up at the airfield, and you can pull the TAF data and get a sort of pictorial representation of that, which I think is kind of cool. So again, very similar to AeroWeather and AeroWeather Pro, but it just lays it out differently. So personal preference, really, isn't it? Let's have a look at the old Station Weather Pro. So this is, I think it used to be called Station Weather Pro. So this is Station Weather Meta and TAF is what it's called on the App Store. Again, same author, and it's either free, same developer should I say, it's either free or you've got this subscription model now, which is $3.99 a year and gives you extra details. So again, it's just like the light version, but you get a bit more sort of pictorial representation. So as you can see, Humberside there, it's got the runways showing with their length and approximate headings. So it gives you a nice idea of the runway lengths and things like that. And then it's got the runway itself with the active runway in use shown in the runway numbers. Then again, it's got your crosswind and headwind components all at a glance on this menu. And then just so you can add your airfields in, your usual airfields and display them there. And then just like the light version, you go in and we've got a really good representation of the conditions, and then at the bottom you've got sort of it's VFR, IFR, marginal, etc. And you can edit your parameters for things like visibility and cloud base for your country as well. So it's really nice. And again, personal preference with the layout, whether you prefer this or AeroWeather Pro. Again, you've got the timeline function here, where you can have a look at the TAFs. You can have a look at the all the different types there, which is great. We've got some info again, probably what you've got on the main screen, actually, the sort of preview screen, but it also shows you the second runway there. Then now this is the one with the old synoptic charts. So you can scroll through and pull out the detailed charts, which, to be honest, I'm not used to using them too much. Let's have a quick look. You know, if you've done aviation, you'd be used to looking at these things, you know, study for your pilot's license or anything like that. So quite detailed information if you ever play it. Here we go. Look, yeah, that's the layout that you'd be used to looking at with your when you're doing your pilot's license and things like that. Obviously that's quite complicated, but if you want to delve deeper into the world of weather for aviation, then that's what you enjoy. And then you've got these, you can add these functions on with the Pro subscription, you see. So you've got runway state report, runway visual range, which might only work, depends what data they've got access to, really. So it might only work in America, where these apps are designed for unit conversion and QFE, QNH conversion. So yeah, good little app, really. And then my last one is a bit of an honourable mention. Again, it's not aviation focused, but Windy. So this is windy.com. I think it's listed on the iOS App Store by Windy T. Don't know how to pronounce that. SE, and this is free. And I just I want to give this an honourable mention, because isn't this a beautiful way to represent the wind trends? Lovely animation showing what's happening with the wind. I just think it's great. It looks really cool. So I thought I'd give that an honourable mention. So we'll pop back and summarise them. So you've got AeroWeather and AeroWeather Pro, which are more sort of textual representations of the weather. But they give you, the Pro version gives you the addition of NOTAMs, which is very useful. And then you compare that to Station Weather, which is a more pictorial representation of the weather and doesn't have NOTAMs, but does have the access to the synoptic charts if you're a total aviation meteorological geek. And then the two honourable mentions are the world weather with its nice meteogram graph, and Windy, which purely makes the wind look cool. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. You can always leave me some feedback. There are plenty of other apps, aviation, non-aviation weather apps in the iOS store. You might prefer some of them, but these are the ones I've been using for years, and I've had a good look through the app store and can't think of anything better. Other than that, I hope you're all keeping well. Yeah, we've got strange times at the minute. I'm filming this in lockdown 3 of the human malware epidemic. So yeah, strange times, and you might not be using these weather apps to go spotting anytime soon, but when you do, these are my picks. Please like and subscribe if you can. Liking the video really helps with the YouTube algorithm, shows it to people who might be interested in this kind of content. And also subscribing, you can get notifications of when I upload videos, and you can, my traditional rambling, no edited rubbish that I put out, this type of stuff. So if you're a strange person and like listening to me ramble on, then crack on. You can get some more videos to entertain yourselves. So yeah, hope you're all right. You take care of each other, and we'll see you in the next one, guys. Cheers.